you're a Filipina, active on dating sites, looking for a husband here in North America, I hope you're willing to listen. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna say it right now. Don't even think about that. Don't even think about marrying and being with, especially an older man here in North America. You know, um, don't be okay. I saw this video. Now I haven't lived in Europe. I've been to Europe but I haven't lived there. I heard that there are some nations in Europe, I think Germany. No, don't take this wrong, my stepdad is German. He's the sweetest guy ever. My mom was so blessed with him, but you will see in their background anyway if you think they are decent or not, right? But I heard that in Germany, men who commit crime are, once they were released, the crime kind of get disappeared. So those men, those passport brothers from these European nations that will fly to Asia, to Philippines, you didn't know that they were criminals. You didn't know that they were in mental health institution. Okay, but all I'm saying is for Asians who's still thinking of marrying for money, marrying for visa. First of all, marriage is a beautiful thing. If there's one thing that I'm gonna say is it's he who finds a wife. Women don't look for a husband. You know, pray for it. Pray for it. Pray for it. We can talk all day about praying for a husband rather than actively looking for one. There's just so many predatory men here. And like I said, like in my other video, it was a result of the economy, it's a result of the system, it's a result of feminism. You know, women here didn't want to get married, so men, before they get a chance to start looking for a wife in Asia, most of the time they'll be older by then. They have already developed some predatory behavior. Now, the predatory behavior came from their biological needs, you know. So it's not fulfilled. Now they're taking it on younger women or weaker women. Just don't want a man from this place, you know. I'm not a big fan of thinking of marrying a divorced man because girl, if you're marrying for money, that means you care about security. Why would you marry a man who don't believe in, you know, in a lasting relationship? That means you're not gonna be secured with him, you know. He's not gonna fight for that relationship. You're gonna be still let alone when you're old, you know. So I don't know. I'm not into the idea of being with a man who think it's okay to leave and not fight for the relationship. So and of course, God is the original author of marriage. God is the one who designed marriage, right? So he can give it to you, but he also have a terms of what you should be doing and what you should be looking for, right? God cares about loneliness. When God created Adam, right? Adam was totally fine. God gave him a job, named all the animals. He's basically the king of the earth. At the same time, he's standing side by side with God himself. If you look at it in today's term, it does seem like he don't need a wife. But God still addressed that I designed you to have some sort of longing for a wife. So, you know, we know the story. God says, look for a compatible partner among the animals. There's none. So God's solution is to give him a wife. You know, so God is the author of that. And if you look into the Bible, you know, God does bring people together. So you have to turn to prayers. You know, the way you connect with God about this is prayers. You don't go to dating sites. I mean, there are some relationships come out of dating sites. That's now a personal thing, a personal pathway of how you and God gonna do it. I personally am not a big fan of dating sites. So, you know, don't just because of the, like I said, you're not gonna get money anyway. If you marry someone from here, you're most likely gonna get verbal abuse. You're most likely gonna get physical abuse. I work in a call center, you know, and for the first 6 months I was okay. I was a very positive person. After 6 months, I can't even lift my finger. Like every time I'm thinking about answering another call, I just experienced trauma, you know. So Jesus saved me after that, but it's because men keep shouting at me. People here likes to shout. People here likes to say the F word, you know. And if you notice that the Filipinos or Asian people that started acting aggressive and just masculine like that were those Asian that actually started living here. It's an influence of the environment and the behavior. Remember, we Asians, we were we were brought up in a soft, and maybe not exactly soft, but we do still have the balance of being polite, being hospitable, you know, and just taking things light, you know. So an extreme of both is not good, but I do want you to be, I want to discourage you to stop going to those dating sites, talking to these men from this nation, especially if they're older. I don't think you're putting yourself in a secure place in life, but I think you're putting yourself in a very dangerous position to be abused, to be just the subject of their, I don't know, whatever it is that's frustrating them about their country, you know. So we're not in that economy, we're not in that generation anymore. Like I said, my stepdad is German, you know. My mom met him on a call center, you know. It worked out, but look at the background. My dad was working for MERS. Like look at the background. He had a nice job. It does seem like that he is a decent man, but if the background kind of came from something that looks aggressive, looks uncertain, looks like it could put him in a position where he developed some mental illness of any form or aggression. Drugs is quite a thing here. This is also one reason why I would not suggest everyone is just exposed to drugs here. Even if the man itself is good, if his influence or, you know, they get influenced, if you see his friends group are into drugs and all, kind of avoid that relationship. It's not from God. What comes from God comes with peace, clarity, you know, and look for a gentleman aspect. So I heard there's not much here about the gentleman aspect in dating. So yeah, like there's a lot of people will tell me date an older man. Excuse me. I'd rather go back to the Philippines at this point. Now there are men for you. By God, I believe in the concept of the one. You know, I think I made that like a couple of months ago of how God actually give you the one, and he's just able to manipulate things and orchestrate things for you to know who's the one and to be with the one, you know. But we're not in a generation where people from this nation and men from this nation are loyal. There's a lot of infidelity going on. I see it around me. Girl, you're not secured. If you're marrying for money and security, you're not. So do I say that you stick to an Asian man? I would say stick to praying for a man to come. Stick for praying for a man to come. Simply like that. It's not a safe place, you know. Filipinos, I personally wouldn't date Filipinos simply because I do like the gentleman culture. I believe a generous man most likely came from a wealthy background, not exactly financially, but you know, either something that he was brought up with, or you know, cause Filipinos, all of us Filipinos, we were brought up with the idea we need to work, you know, and we were not brought up to just be a gentleman or whatever, you know. Cause I was in the Philippines right this last 3 months, and you know, go to Landmark, bought these big things, and you know, they will help you if you ask them to help you, but it comes with money. It's not like something that they did out of their own. So I feel like a lot of Filipino men are not like that. I'm just on the age that kind of my standard has increased, you know. So something that I would do suggest is just really pray for it, but please don't discern men from these nations anymore. Don't. I'm not saying they're bad, but a lot of them are not in a good place mentally to be a good husband for you, especially if they're older. Look into their background. They might be a bit predatory. We heard a lot of stories of Asian white being killed. It's not the same anymore, guys. It's not the same. God bless you. Bye.